What if a simple routine exam revealed not only a serious illness, but also completely shattered everything you believe about your own life? Imagine walking into a hospital confident, with your schedule planned, your appointments organized, your family waiting at home, and discovering that nothing you built up until then was true. Not your health, not your relationships, not even your own identity. Have you ever been through this? Have you ever felt the ground disappear from beneath your feet? Well, the world around you continues spinning as if nothing had happened. The story I'm going to tell you today isn't about medicine. It's about power, about true love and feigned love, about the secrets families keep for decades, and about the brutal price we pay when we finally decide to live authentically. It's about a woman who had everything, absolutely everything, and who, in a matter of hours, saw her entire world crumble within the four white walls of a hospital. She was an executive, a mother, a wife, the heiress of a family name that opened doors. He had status, money, influence, but did she have herself? Stay with me until the end, because what happened to Mariana might make you rethink every choice you've made in your own life. When we wake up in the morning, we rarely think that this could be the day that divides our existence into before and after. We follow our routine, answer messages, race against the clock, complain about the traffic, plan the future as if we had control over it. Mariana was like that, controlled, organized, impeccable. The MRI scan had been scheduled weeks in advance, but it was just another item on the endless list of commitments. Headache, stress, obviously. An executive woman doesn't stop, doesn't falter, doesn't give up. She entered that hospital with the same posture as always, typing emails on her cell phone, mentally planning the following week's meeting and the social event that would be the highlight of the season. 10 days in. 10 days, she would be the perfect hostess, the exemplary wife, the successful businesswoman everyone admired. But fate has a cruel way of rewriting our plans. Inside that resonance machine, while the metallic sound echoed around, something was being revealed. Not just a devastating medical diagnosis, but an even more painful truth, hidden for decades, protected by well-constructed lies and convenient silences. What you are about to discover may surprise you, because this is not a story about overcoming illness or obstacles. It is a story about identity, about the roles we play to please others, and about the terrifying moment when we are forced to remove all masks. When the doctors finally called Mariana into that private room with that serious look we all recognize, she still didn't imagine she was about to discover two bombshells. The first exploded when they uttered the word no one wants to hear. Tumor, brain, complex, urgent. But it was the second revelation, the one that came in the complementary exams, that truly destroyed the foundations of the life she knew. Because facing one's own mortality is one thing, discovering that you don't even know who you really are is quite another. And when these two realities collide at the same time, inside a cold and impersonal hospital room, no amount of emotional preparation can hold you back. Before we continue, I need to tell you something. If this topic resonates with you, if you've ever felt like you were living a life that wasn't yours, or if you've ever experienced that moment when everything falls apart and you're forced to reinvent yourself, leave a comment below about what has touched you the most so far. It can be a word, a phrase, a memory. I read all the comments, and each story you share below not only enriches this community, but also helps me understand what kind of content resonates most deeply with you. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people who need to hear stories like this, stories that make us feel less alone in our own battles. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to tell you about Mariana will show you that the worst crises can also be the greatest opportunities for rebirth. And if you like real, intense stories that go beyond superficial entertainment and truly touch the essence of what it means to be human, you'll want to be here every week. Oh, and if you could leave a like on this video, it really helps the algorithm show this content to more people who can benefit from it. It's a small gesture, but it makes a huge difference. Now, back to Mariana. She was there, sitting in that doctor's chair, listening to words that seemed to come from very far away. A brain tumor was devastating, but it was something concrete, something that medicine could try to treat. But the discovery about her origin, about the lie that had sustained her entire life, that was something no surgery could solve. The genetic results showed something impossible to ignore. She was not the biological daughter of the woman she had always called mother. Decades of living together, of hugs, of conversations, of family dinners, all built on a carefully preserved lie. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding who Mariana was before that day is fundamental for you to grasp the magnitude of the impact these revelations had. Mariana Vasconcelos was no ordinary person. She was the personification of the success everyone aspires to. At 38, she held a position of power in one of the largest media companies in the country, was a partner with an active voice, and participated in decisions that involved millions. Her marriage to Enrique united to traditional snow polo families, the kind that appear in society columns, that have frequented the same clubs for generations, that have surnames that open doors even before any conversation begins. Her life was a perfect choreography. She woke up at 5:30, went to the gym before breakfast, had strategic meetings in the morning, business lunches, spent the afternoon resolving corporate crises and planning expansions. In the evening, dinners with her husband and two children, help with homework, conversations about school projects all on autopilot, like someone who completely masters her own existence. The plans were all laid out. In 10 days, the most important charity event of the season would take place, where she would be the main hostess. Dress already chosen, menu approved, guest list revised 3 times, total control. That routine checkup was just another box ticked off in her packed schedule. Headaches, executive stress, nothing serious. She entered Snow Lucas Hospital with her usual confidence, answering emails while waiting to be called, mentally calculating the company's next investments. Her journey up to that point had been built with surgical precision, each step measured, each relationship strategic, each decision aligned with the image she needed to maintain. But the hidden truth was about to shatter it all. But this is where everything changes. Because during that seemingly harmless exam, something went completely off script. The sound of the MRI machine was hypnotic, monotonous, almost relaxing. Mariana closed her eyes and let her mind wander to the presentation she would give the following week, to the details of the charity event, to the board meeting. She had no idea that those were the last minutes of the life she knew. When the exam ended, there was a heavy silence. The technician took too long to return. And when she finally appeared, she was accompanied by a doctor Mariana had never seen before. His gaze said it all before the words even came out. "We need to repeat some images," they said, but the tone wasn't routine. It was one of contained urgency, the kind of urgency that healthcare professionals learn to disguise but can't completely hide. 30 minutes later, Mariana was in a private room, away from the hospital's bustle, facing 3 doctors. The word hit her like a punch to the gut: tumor. Brain tumor, complex location. Discovered by chance, but it had been there long enough to be serious. The air seemed to have thickened in that room. The hospital, which 2 hours earlier had been just another functional building on her agenda, instantly transformed into an emotional prison. But the revelation didn't stop there. During the emergency supplementary tests they had to perform immediately, something even more disturbing appeared in the results. Something in the genetic data that simply didn't make sense. Mariana was not genetically compatible with the woman she had always believed to be her biological mother. The doctors explained, embarrassed, that this information appeared in the cross-referencing of data from the hospital system because her mother had been treated there years before. Decades of shared experiences, memories, and identity, all based on a carefully preserved lie. The waiting room spun. White walls seemed to close in. The discovery of the tumor was already devastating, but this was another dimension of pain. Who was she, after all? Why had no one ever told her? And how many other hidden truths were buried behind the scenes of the perfect family she thought she had? The hospitalization was immediate. Mariana would need to stay in the hospital for surgical preparation and further tests, and it was there, among beds and silent corridors, that the masks finally began to fall. The news spread quickly, and when Enrique appeared in the room, she noticed something she had never noticed before. He was compulsively checking his cell phone, as if he were calculating something, measuring impacts that went beyond her health. "The shareholders can't know yet," was one of the first phrases that came out of his mouth, even before asking about the real prognosis that hurt more than any medical diagnosis. Helena, the woman who raised Mariana as her own daughter, arrived with red eyes, but when the genetic revelation was mentioned, her face turned pale. After decades of keeping secrets, the truth finally had to be told. Mariana was the daughter of her father's extramarital affair. Helena had raised her as her own, perhaps out of love, but also for social convenience, for status, to maintain the appearance of the perfect family. "You were the price I paid to keep my marriage and my position," she confessed, between tears and resentment accumulated over the years. The inner workings of that seemingly perfect family were rotten, and Enrique was no exception. Mariana overheard a conversation between him and the family lawyer about how to protect their assets in the worst-case scenario. The company, the stocks, the assets, everything was being shielded while she fought for her own life. The love she believed she had built was, in reality, a cold partnership disguised as a marriage. Money and influence spoke louder than any real feeling. But it was Raphael, the neurosurgeon in charge of the case, who brought something completely unexpected. He didn't treat her like a VIP patient. He didn't bow to the Vasconcelos surname. He didn't lie to spare her feelings. He was direct, competent, and, strangely, the only person who made her feel human again. Between conversations about surgical risks and realistic expectations, a connection was born that Mariana didn't know she was still capable of feeling. The surgery lasted 8 hours. When Mariana finally woke up, half her head was shaved, a scar ran across her skull, and her weak body could barely move. But the real transformation had begun long before the scalpel touched her skin. In those days between beds, connected to machines, stripped of all the social armor she had worn her entire life, she finally saw who she really was. She wasn't the perfect daughter of a family charade. She wasn't the trophy wife of a marriage of convenience. She wasn't the ruthless executive who sacrificed everything for the appearance of success. She was just Mariana, a 38-year-old woman who almost had to die to learn how to truly live. The hospital ceased to be a place of transit and became the catalyst for irreversible change. Each painful conversation with Helena, each calculated silence from Enrique, each genuine look from Raphael, all of this shaped a new mindset. The decisions she had to make there weren't just about medical treatments. They were about who she would choose to be from then on. Accept the lie and move on as if nothing had happened. Or face the pain of rebuilding an identity from scratch, without the crutches of her last name, her arranged marriage, the life that was never truly hers. One night, Raphael entered the room during one of his rounds. They talked about simple things, books, music, old dreams buried under layers of obligations. He explained that he had become a doctor after losing his sister in an accident, seeking to make sense of his pain. She confessed that she had never chosen anything in her own life, only followed the script written for her. "You have a second chance," Raphael said. Few people get that. Mariana knew he was right. But she also knew that accepting this chance meant destroying everything she had built up to that point. It took courage to be reborn, and pain to let go of who she pretended to be. 3 months later, Mariana was discharged. She left Snow Lucas Hospital on a sunny afternoon, carrying a small suitcase and none of the accessories that had defined her previous life. The world outside seemed exactly the same. The same buildings, the same traffic, the same people rushing from one place to another. But for her, nothing was as before. Enrique wasn't there to pick her up. The divorce was already underway, as was the legal battle over the assets he was fighting. For the money that had always been the true cement of that marriage, she was fighting for her own soul. Helena had tried to reconcile in recent days, but Mariana knew that some wounds have no cure, only acceptance. They said goodbye politely, but without hugs. Maybe someday, Mariana thought, but not today. The company had a new majority shareholder. Her former colleagues avoided her gaze, embarrassed by the human fragility she dared to show. She sold her shares, took the money, and decided to start over far away. She didn't know exactly where to go, but for the first time in her life, uncertainty didn't frighten her. Raphael was waiting at the hospital door, not as a doctor, but as someone who understood what it meant to rise from one's own ashes. They had no promises, no certainties. They only had the courage to try something real, without masks and without lies. When Mariana looked back, she saw the immense hospital building. Inside, she had died and been reborn. She had lost everything and, at the same time, had found herself. Power changed hands, love revealed its true face, and moral choices exacted their price. She was no longer the same woman who entered that hospital confidently 3 months ago. And the question remains, how much of our lives are we living out of obligation, fear, or convenience? How many masks do we need to lose before we discover who we truly are? If you've made it this far, this story probably touched on something real within you, maybe. You've also felt the weight of living a life that isn't yours, or perhaps you know someone who is at that crossroads right now. I want to know, what would you do in Mariana's place? Would you have the courage to abandon everything for what is true? Do you believe that love can survive when power, money, and ambition come into play? Leave your answer here in the comments. And if you've made it to the end of this journey with me, right below, this message was for me. I read every comment, and knowing that this content resonates with you is what motivates me to continue bringing you these stories. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, now's the perfect time to hit that button. Because every week I bring you stories like this that go beyond superficial entertainment and truly touch on the essence of what it means to be human. They are narratives about transformation, about difficult choices, about the price we pay when we finally decide to live authentically. And if you enjoyed this connection we created here, leave a like on this video. This helps many more people find this content and, who knows, be inspired to make their own courageous choices. There's a video over here that complements this topic in a way you'll want to watch. Click on it and continue the conversation, because it doesn't end here. Until the next story.